Ooh, it's all dark and stormy and rainy. I'm like all bundled up. It's freaking August. What am I doing? I don't know. Felt the need to put on something fluffy. Whatever. Just kind of a weird day. Anyway, hey, what's up? How's it going? My name is Marley. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm a second year med student. Welcome. Hope you're all having a great day. And if you're applying to med school this cycle, then you're probably acutely uncomfortably aware that it's interview season. Med schools are starting to send out and schedule interviews. And don't worry if you haven't gotten yours yet. This drags on for months. It's currently August. This will go on until next, April? I think. And each school sends out the interview invites and everything on its own mysterious timeline. So while last year may have been pretty weird with about, I think it was pretty much everybody, about 100% of med schools did interviews online last cycle, I should say. This cycle might be even weirder because it's kind of a hybrid. Some places they're feeling okay doing some in-person interviews or giving students the option or applicants the option to do in-person interviews, and others are virtual. So you kind of have a mix. It's this weird hybrid thing this cycle. Depends on the school. I've been on my school's admissions committee, so I'll be sharing some of the insights that I've learned during my time on there and some best practices to help applicants slay both virtual and in-person interviews. Let's start with some virtual interview specific advice. First, get familiar with the interview online platform that you'll be using. Usually it's Zoom or WebEx, but double check. Make it the account if you have to. And make sure you upload a good professional avatar picture if you have the option to. Pretty sure you have the option to for most of the major ones. That's another way to stick in people's minds, have a good impression, and you need as many good impressions as you can get when you're virtually interviewing. Also, wear pants. I've heard stories about interviewers asking their interviewees to stand up and do a quick little stretch break before they start interview questions. Be fully dressed, basically. Also, don't wear glasses if you don't have to. The glare that can come off them can be really distracting. Of course, if you have to wear glasses, you don't have contact lenses, just make sure that your lighting is such that it doesn't reflect and glare off of your glasses when you're on a Zoom. And you can practice that beforehand. Make sure you've got everything angles lining up right for that. And on a similar note, lighting is everything. I'm pretty sure most people should know this by now, having had everything this past year and a half being virtual. But just to recap, it's really hard to see you or anything but your silhouette if you have bright light at your back or behind you. That's why it's called backlit, which is why I recommend getting a natural light mimicking light source with adjustable light levels that you can set up right in front of you. It can even hook onto your laptop or your computer just so that you have this consistent direct light straight on you. You're nice and clear and you don't have to worry about, whether it's sunny or cloudy outside. There are so many different kinds of lights and you can get really affordable and good ones off of Amazon. And virtual stuff does not seem to be going away anytime soon. So you'll definitely get your money's worth out of this little investment. Now moving into more in-person interviewing specific, if you get the opportunity to do this cycle, when you're on campus, when you're interviewing, when you're interacting with people, ask yourself, think about, do these seem like my people? Do these feel like my people? This sounds kind of wishy-washy, but really do pay attention to who you're interacting with. Do you vibe with the other applicants that you're even interviewing with? Do you feel like you're putting on a show? Or are you comfortable, just a dressed up, nice, best foot forward version of yourself, but not feeling fake? I really believe in this because I had a very, very impactful experience when I was interviewing at the place that I'm attending now. It was very clear to me when I interviewed at the school that I'm currently at, that the current students, the interviewers, the interviewees were all people that were awesome, two, people that it was just easy to talk to, it was easy to get along with. I could actually see myself hanging out with and studying with these people, being actual friends with them, It's kind of hard to describe, but it's really unmistakable when you feel it. And my hope is that every applicant gets that experience about the place that they end up attending. Also, have a nice looking notepad, a physical one, to write stuff down in and keep things in too. Write down what impressed you, who did you meet, their contact information. This is super important because you meet tons of people throughout the day and you want to keep in touch with them and or send them thank you notes. It's incredibly hard hard to remember everything and everyone when the whole day is just kind of a blur. And I talk about this general topic a bit more in a previous video, which I'll link up above here somewhere. Okay, now for some advice that applies to both virtual and in-person interviewing. First, be a little bit extra outgoing and smiley. Not a lot. You don't want to be creepy. Don't be creepy. Definitely don't be like, oh, med school is serious and I just want them to know that I'm a really serious applicant. Like be stone cold the whole time. Like no. I mean, of course, if you're like naturally a serious person, then don't go overboard and be like really uncharacteristically smiley and outgoing and whatever. Lighten up a little bit. It's okay to smile. In fact, it's a good thing because not only does that help relieve stress, it also helps you make good first impressions and it's contagious. It's great. Next, don't be afraid of a little bit of color or pizzazz or whatever in your outfit, okay? This may be a little bit more applicable to in-person interviews more than virtual, but either way, it still applies. For example, I wore red heels on my interview. Now, they weren't like 10-inch crazy ones, okay? Nothing nuts. But I wore a navy pantsuit and I wore red heels. And you know what? People came up to me 9 months later when we were in orientation week. Students that I interviewed with and faculty members were like, come up to me and were like, hey, you were the one who wore the red shoes, right? And I'm like, you remember that? I was shook. It was crazy. So the fact that that stuck in their mind so well, 9 months later, like that was cool. Poor interviewers just see the sea of gray, black, and blue most of the time. So having a little something special or interesting or unique to latch onto about someone's appearance helps you to stick in their mind better. So if you can work something in like that, I mean, if this just doesn't work with your wardrobe or with your personality, fine. Also, prep lots of questions in advance, like a lot, okay? You want to have those with you. Like that's why I was talking about the notepad is really helpful. But also if it's like a folder type thing, you can slip a list of questions into the folder, have those at all times while you're walking around and be like, oh yeah, I forgot I need to ask this question. Having that is awesome. It shows that you're engaged and you're interested, you did your research on the school. I can't tell you how many times I've heard interviewers mention lack of curiosity, lack of interest or questions as a red flag. So definitely have a bunch of questions ready. Also, practice talking about and explaining your activities, your personal statement, and your, why medicine, all the common questions that are asked in interviews. And record yourself practicing too. It feels awkward and then you go back and watch it and you're like, I am literally the most awkward human on this planet. That's fine. Recording yourself will help you identify and fix the nervous tics and filler words that you didn't even know you had or used before interviews come around. And when I say practice, I don't mean memorize. Please do not memorize word for word anything. That just sounds rehearsed and stiff and it's just not good. No, just practice conversationally talking about it so it flows more naturally when you actually get into interviews. Next, expect some kind of hiccup. Virtual or in person, either way. If you're virtual, expect a tech issue. If you're in person, expect some logistical issue. Don't get ruffled. This is normal. Just approach the whole interview with a whatever happens, I'll let it roll off my back, kind of attitude. And it'll be a lot less stressful and a lot more enjoyable. Finally, trust your gut. If you get nothing else out of this video, take this away. Trust your gut. After interviewing at the school that I'm at now, I loved it so much. It rocked me to my core. It was crazy. I literally loved it so much that I withdrew all of my other apps, okay? And it sounded crazy, and it was crazy a little bit, but it was fine. I felt good about it, and it really did end up being the best decision for me, and I have zero regrets. Now, vice versa, if you get a gut feeling like, oh, this is a really awesome school, and I thought I wanted to go here, but really it's looking like there are some red flags and I maybe don't push through that. Don't just ignore those red flags. Trust your gut, please. Please, please, please. Okay, that's all. That's what I've got for the rundown of virtual and in-person interviewing for med school. It's a marathon and it can be stressful, but with these basics in mind, you'll be able to approach each interview confidently and you'll be prepared for any format. Applicants, you got this. Please comment down below or reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram. My handle is @HeyMarls if you have any questions about this whole thing, this whole process. And if you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it with your medically inclined friends, family, and also subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching. Love you all. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and catch you next week.